Now, ahead of the March 26 National Convention of the All Progressives Congress, President Muhammadu Buhari is said to have endorsed Abdullahi Adamu, a former governor of Nasarawa State, as the chairman of the ruling party. Meanwhile, Senate leaders are also said to have endorsed Senator Adamu and urged him to ensure that the APC emerges as a much more stronger political force in Nigeria after the March 26 National Convention, though there's been a dispute by some senators saying that there wasn't an endorsement. But as the picture shows right on your screen, we can see all happy faces and Senator Abdullahi Adamu right in between the President of the Senate and the Deputy President of the Senate, the Chief Whip, and other top officials, presiding officers of the Senate. Well, one of the APC chairmanship contestants, Senator Mohammed Sani Musa from Niger State, who was among those that is alleged to have endorsed Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has also said that that is not the case from what we're hearing from his aides. Senator Adamu is a serving lawmaker representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District. He's said to be President Muhammadu Buhari's anointed candidate and is said to be presented as a consensus candidate at the convention. Well, for more on this, I'm being joined by Aliyu Audu, who is the convener of the APC Rebirth Group, and also I have Mustafa Audu, who is the leader of the APC Progressive Youths movement and all of that. So good to have you gentlemen. I mean, APC and its national convention, here we are again, and then this time around, it looks like Senator Abdullahi Adamu is coasting home with this endorsement. Some people have said he hasn't been endorsed, that President Buhari hasn't said that. But some of the governors who have been speaking with journalists behind the scene are actually saying that this is what they are reading the president's body language to be like. Let's start with you. We have two Audus in the house. Let's start with the first Audu. What do you make of all of this?
I mean, good evening, viewers, and it's good to be here. Name dropping isn't anything that is new in the polity. You know, we know, I can remember in 2017, 2018, towards the convention, there was this rumor again that at the time, that President Muhammadu Buhari had endorsed Oyegu-led committee to carry on, you know, but at the end of the day, I mean, we all know how it turned out. The president came out and cleared the air that he never endorsed, he never said any such. And on this again, just last week, I think one of the media aides came out to say the president hasn't endorsed anyone. I mean, President Muhammadu Buhari is a Democrat. You know, he knows what the difference is between imposition and endorsement, and more consensus. From the information we have gathered from all of the meetings that they've had, what the president has said so far, from what we've gathered, is that the national chairmanship has been zoned to North Central, that he would want them to have a consensus candidate, want to have the consensus, that they should go and work a consensus, or come up with a consensus candidate. As far as President Muhammadu Buhari endorsing a particular candidate, that is not true.
Okay, and I'll come to you, Mustafa Audu. Do you think that the governors were misreading the body language of President Buhari, or they should go ahead with this body language of endorsement of Senator Abdullahi Adamu?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure what has happened or what the real situation is. You know, this is politics. But what I want to state categorically is that as young people, we respect, we support our president 10,000%, you know. We believe that the time has come for the APC to get its act together. We, as young stakeholders, had an issue with the party, you know, a long-standing issue, but I'm happy to say today we're working hand in hand with the party. And what we would like to say is that some of these issues that come about is usually due to a lack of communication and carrying people along. Consensus has always been the play that the APC has used. Chief Bisi Akande was the first one. It was through consensus. And the first elected chairman was Oyegu through consensus once again. Likewise, the previous chairman, Oshomole, His Excellency Oshomole, so through consensus. So we can produce a chairman through consensus, but the issue here is there's a difference between imposition and consensus. And I'd like to say the new Electoral Act, it takes care of this. I don't think there's anything that we should worry about. The Electoral Act specifically states what consensus is. So if there are people running a race, you must bring them together and they must sign and adopt.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
person.
all of them have to sign
Yes.
and agree
Yeah, exactly.
that this person should be the consensus candidate.
I don't think...
But that should be those who have purchased forms, actually.
I
not
think
just those who
yes,
have
absolutely,
intention.
of course. I think that time is coming. That's why I'm not as worried as we were before. That's the truth. A lot of these things were going on and there was no inclusion, especially of young people. Yesterday we had a meeting with His Excellency Maimala Buni before he traveled, and he has assured us that we're in the convention, planning committees, we're taking up zonal positions, we're going to be an integral part of the party. And to be honest, as far as I'm concerned as a young man, my fight is for inclusion of young people. My fight is not for chairman, but I'm fighting so that the party has a chairman that recognizes these young, active, agile APC members. So however our leaders want to do to give us who this chairman is, we don't actually mind. I don't think my colleague here, my brother here's fight is, I want to be chairman, or I want a young person, our age group, to be chairman or secretary. We've never had that fight before. The fight has always been, we want the right chairman. I don't think
there's also anything wrong with you asking for that.
No, there isn't. But you know, today asking for a 30-something-year-old or for something else to be president or chairman, that's not reality. You have to look at the complex dynamics of Nigeria. Yes, as young people, we want to sit on the table. So if we are saying, okay, let the elder ones be president, what happens to all the junior ministers? We don't want the FCT Minister of State being an older person, or Ministry of Environment, all those things that have state-wide. That is what we are really fighting for, basically. So in terms of this chairmanship, I think the party has the ability and the capacity to resolve this with ease, by simple dialogue and carrying people along.
Now, let's talk about what is wrong with a potential Abdullahi Adamu candidacy as the sole consensus candidate of the APC for the position of national chairman. What exactly is the problem? Why is it that a lot of groups seem to be grumbling, they seem to be rejecting him, and they are just preparing to hear that he has been fully nominated by Mr. President or the party, and then they will all go out against him?
It's simple. He's not popular. I'll tell you something clearly. If we remember, Senator Abdullahi Adamu was one of the strong proponents of the third-term agenda.
That's during the Olusegun Obasanjo presidency.
Exactly. We are young, but not so young. We are students of history. And if we want to do things right, we should learn to reward people who do good and not reward people who don't do good. Because that's the only way we can deter people from doing bad. If that third-term agenda had sailed, if it had succeeded, we probably would have had a fourth, a fifth, and would have ended up with a life president today. So people who do or say things or stand by things that threaten our democracy should not be rewarded with bigger positions. That is one. Secondly, Senator Abdullahi Adamu is not young people friendly. I will say this anywhere. He's not. He was a reconciliation chairman. I mean, there have been a lot of agitation from the youth group within the party. He has his group, PYM, the APC Rebel, a few other young groups. He never invited a single one of this group we account for about 85% of the population of the party. If you do not think we are important enough, the future is about us. This is the future.
Did you make submission to the National Reconciliation Committee chaired by him, and you were not given a seat for this reconciliation to take place?
People he met were not those who met reconciliation, who submitted, who did the submission. There are issues. We wrote to the party leadership. That is enough submission of our grievance about the way the party was being managed. That's enough. We had open letter to Mr. President. We had all of those in national dailies. What else are we supposed to do as young people to show that we're concerned about the state of the party? All we expected would have been, okay, let's hear you out. If you do not think your people are important enough, like he rightly said, we're not asking for right now to have, we would want a young president, a young national chairman of the party, because, the world is changing. The young people are doing, great things, and Nigeria is not an exception. We have great, solid, teeming population of young Nigerians. They are willing to get involved. we talk about debt, loan here, loan there, loan here. We are not against that, because we know to develop your infrastructure upon which any economy can build on, you need loans. You need to make but we young people are going to be more responsible for payback, repaying this loan, than the older generation naturally. So we expect to be invited to the table where our future is discussed. But any individual who do not see us as critical stakeholders of this country or of this party should not be put in a position to discuss our future.
Very interesting. And what do you have actually any grievances against a potential Senator Abdullah Adamu candidacy?
To be honest, it's not like I have a grievance against it, because like he said, there's not really been that interaction. So I cannot say that personally I've interacted with him enough to say I have this particular issue or I perceive him to be this way. What I know is that there were people who had indicated interest to run for chairmanship of the party. Just like you had mentioned, some of them are senators, His Excellency George Akume, His Excellency Almakura, distinguished Senator Sani Musa, Mustafa Saliu. So a number of them had indicated interest. And as young stakeholders, I know my group specifically, we met with all of them. His group specifically met with all of them on the same agenda. This is what we want as young people. Are you okay with this? Can you bring us on board? Is this something you want? Some even went beyond what we asked for. So that showed us that of those people that had indicated interest, we were comfortable. We had even narrowed it down. We were comfortable with a number of them, you know. In fact, we had several meetings saying, should we even narrow it down further?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had heard that you narrowed them to three.
Yes, exactly. So we were even saying, we should not. But now there's a new fray in the dynamics of things, you know. So we're not, again, like I said initially, we believe in our president, you know. If truly Mr. President has made this decision, then we know he's made it for a reason. If he hasn't made this decision, then it's politics. You know, that's just the way it is. Just like he had mentioned the previous time, everybody had gone out and said Mr. President wanted Oyegun to remain. Meanwhile, the reality wasn't the case. So as young stakeholders, we just want someone who specifically agrees to the inclusion of young people in the party. I'm not going to fight a fight that the governors are already fighting. I mean, we fought the party. So our ability to fight is not in question. But as young people, we have to be smart. We don't want fight, no result, you know?
Okay, so just ask you to hold on there, Mustafa Audu, while we go on the short break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. You're still watching the Arise interview. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and we've been taking a critical look at the APC National Convention that will be coming up on March 26th, and the kite that is being flown all around the polity that Senator Abdullah Adamu has been endorsed by President Muhammadu Buhari as the consensus candidacy for the position of National Chairman of the APC. And this picture was taken yesterday after the Senate plenary, and we can see the President of the Senate with Abdullah Adamu by his right, and then the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omar Agege, just by Senator Abdullah Adamu, and then of course you have Ojuzo Kalu, who is the APC Chief Whip right there, and then other principal officers and members. And my guests are still Aliu Audu, the convener of the APC Rebirth Group, and Mustafa Audu, who is the leader of the APC Progressive Youths. And I come to you, Aliu Audu. When you see that picture, what comes to your mind actually? I mean, it speaks volume. I mean,
no, there's no. It doesn't speak volume. I'm a
the news is that he's been endorsed by the Senate leadership, the APC Senate leaders.
Pictorially, you know what endorsement is. When we talk about politics, you see one or two persons holding somebody's hand up.
Yes, and you can see one of the contestants there,
exactly.
Senator Mohammed Sani Musa.
This was just a picture. I mean, from what I can deduce from it, it's just, you know, after an event, people just gathering to take pictures together. There's no sign of endorsement here. It's just mischief. No, I'm telling you the truth.
Oh, okay.
I hear you. When this happened, I reached out to some of the aspirants, including the Senator Musa, who is there, right there. And he said there was nothing like that, and he has even sent a rebuttal
that there's nothing like that. And from what I can see here, there's no endorsement here. This is just group pictures. We take this every time after events. Politicians do this. This is not endorsement. You know what endorsement looks like?
Well, the office of the Senate President has also not denied that there was no endorsement. What do you make of that?
I don't think so. The SA New Media to the President happens to be my co-convener of the APC Rebate and a personal friend of mine. You know, the first thing I asked is like, is this true? And he said there's no such. The pictures were sent, and he posed that he said there was no such. So I mean, I'm interested in anybody from the office of Senate President coming on air to show that there was an endorsement.
Very interesting. Let's have your own views, Mustafa Audu. When you see that picture, what comes to your mind? I mean,
to be honest, we have 3 weeks or thereabouts to the convention. I honestly believe we can do better than this. We can tidy up our house.
Thank you.
We can have everybody on the same page. It's not a difficulty. If you see our temperament now is different from a few weeks ago. True. A few weeks ago, we were boiling on edge. Not because we wanted some kind of gratuity or anything. We wanted recognition. We wanted inclusion. You know, we wanted to be part of the grand scheme of things. So when we sat with our leadership, you know, we've sat with governors. Over the last week and a half, we've met several governors, we've met several party leaders, we've met a number of people, and all of them have said the same thing. Please dial down the temperature. It's too hot. The polity is heated. And, you know, what do we want? And we had described the things we wanted. We had a document called the Mandate of the Youth, and they are happy because the 5 positions that are causing all these critical issues, none of us young people have asked for it. So if we as young people, we the largest population, can, you know, get to the edge and come back, then we don't see why our leaders cannot lead us in an exemplary fashion.
I'm asking this question considering the relationship between the President of the Senate, yes, in fact the Senate leadership, and President Muhammadu Buhari, including the President of the Senate, always saying that as long as whatever Mr. President is proposing and he brings to the Senate is good for the country, it will just pass through. Don't you think that this will affect the psyche of those who may want to come out for the position of national chairman in the forthcoming convention when they hear of this endorsement, including what Atiku Bagudu, the governor of Kebbi State, has said last week, and then seeing this picture? Don't you think that this will dissuade them from wanting to still come out and contest? They may actually say that, look, it looks like indeed President Buhari has endorsed this person. I don't need to go out and purchase a form to contest for the office of national chairman.
Just like my brother had mentioned, it could be one of 2 things. One, it could be realistically that Mr. President has endorsed Abdullah Adamu, distinguished Senator Abdullah Adamu, or 2, it could be political. But we are taking a 3rd position. You know, whatever it is, as our leaders, please tidy up. You need to tidy up. We have very, very, very little time. I don't think any of these people who have come out to say they are contesting for chairmanship, you know, have so much ego that, you know, what they want far outweighs the want of the party. No. But there's a way of handling things. There's a way of communicating with people that they feel carried along. There's a greater good. You can appeal to people to look for the greater good in the whole process. But there's a way. Just like the way our leadership ended up handling us by inviting us to the table, asking us what our problems. Even when we submitted our request, they told us categorically, we're not going to get 100% of what we are asking for, but at the very least 30, 40, or even 50% we can get. Right now, the zonal congress is coming up as we speak. A number of us as young people have been encouraged to come in and are being supported.
Very interesting. Just before we end this conversation, I want to ask if you're happy with the preparation for the convention. Have you seen any change this time around that March 26th is going to hold, as Governor Atiku Abubakar Bagudu had said, that nothing will touch the convention day this time around? Are you happy with the steps being taken by the caretaker committee?
To be honest with you, I am indifferent. You know, I mean, we've seen this date time and time again, and I'll be honest to tell you that there are still rumors here and there that there's a certain group of people are still nursing the idea of combining the convention with the presidential primary election. That will spell doom for the party. So I'll use this opportunity to say whoever is not saying that should drop it. Let's have a separate convention and a separate convention for presidential primary.
Well, that's not even possible because the presidential primaries will start from I think 4th of April to June 3rd.
So that is to tell you that toying with, I mean, you saw a zoning list, a zoning committee of a very long zoning committee list just came out last week. We had seen a zoning agreement shared and announced by the governor, executive governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. Then after that, we saw another zoning committee again. I mean, I would have thought that we had gone past the zoning. Then, while we are expecting to see, real, traction as far as convention is concerned, you are bringing us back to zoning committee. These are issues. You see, we cannot keep doing things the same way and expect different results. It's the same reason I understand that Mr. President did not impose John Oyegun. He did not impose John Oyegun, Adams Oshomole. He did not even impose Senate President when people expected him to. Do you understand? Mr. President is the one who tells you this is what is good for the country and good for the party. Go and meet with all the relevant stakeholders and come with a conclusive, with a decision that everybody is happy with.
That's acceptable to everyone.
That's acceptable to everyone.
Okay.
So I am very confident that he did not endorse anybody.
Okay. And are you also happy with the preparations being put in place for the National Convention?
To be honest, when we met with the governors, they asked us to go around and propagate to the country, to young people, and tell them that the convention will hold March 26th. It wouldn't change. And we told them that it's not possible simply because we don't have any means of measuring, no yardstick to show that this will happen. They asked us, what do we want to prove that? We asked for specifically, at the very least, 20 people to be in the convention planning committee to ensure that this flows seamlessly. I even believe one of his. So when we submitted the list, including one of his members was submitted as part of our list. And to be honest, our list came out. So the things that we've asked our leaders to do as young people recently, they have done. So I can't sit down here to say that they will not do the convention because we were specifically asked what would give you confidence that we are going to do the convention. We said name the committees, name us in zonal congress.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so
and then very quickly, do you think they should have a unity list in the APC convention? Yes or no?
If it is truly consensus, in the real sense of consensus, I'm not against it.
Okay, how about you? Should there be a unity list?
Absolutely. As long as my only caveat is simple, a unity list, there should be young people involved. That has always been. And I think that it's time for the party to be on the right course. So let's have a leader that can set us on the right course.
Mustafa Audu, leader of the APC Progressive Youths, we must thank you for joining us on the show. And then Aliyu Audu, who's the convener of the APC Rebirth Group, we must thank you immensely for joining us on the show. You've always been our friends, and we hope to have you next time again. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambu.